Hey, welcome back to our kitchen, and today I'm going to start off with telling you the ingredients that I use to go ahead and make a detailed macaroni and cheese. This is using 3 meats. Now I already have a video on this, but this one will be like more detailed, and I'll also list in the description box the price of the ingredients that I got and also where I got it. So we're going to start off with our mayonnaise. We're going to use mayonnaise for this macaroni. We have olive oil, we have our garlic, we have our eggs here, our penne pasta, our black pepper, our salt, as well as our bell peppers. You can also add a yellow one if you would like, but we have our green and red one. Then we have our red onion, we have our Gouda cheese. Now I went ahead and got this from Sam's Club. I used to get it from Costco, but I was like, okay, I can go ahead and, you know, try somewhere else. It's the same thing. It's Gouda cheese, Dutch Mark brand. We have our Carnation milk. We have our Dijon mustard, our Mexican style cheese. And for the meats, we have our ground beef chuck. We have our turkey breast, and then we have our ham that I'm going to chop up. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and list this in the description box along with the prices, because I think it's important to know, you know, how much you're going to be spending on a meal. So if you have any questions or comments or anything, just, you know, let me know. All right. So I like to be as detailed as possible, you know, when it comes to cooking, because I know that, you know, some people, you know, they need like a step-to-step tutorial on what to do. So I just went ahead and, you know, opened the package like that. Going ahead and remove this. I already have my bowl. This is like the prepping. I like to usually like prep everything, and that includes like chopping or, you know, cutting anything that's necessary to make like this process much easier. So I usually, it's okay to start off with your bell peppers, chopping them up, meats, whatever, but I usually like to like start off with the cheese. Move everything out the way. I have my cutting board. I have my large knife. I always be careful with, you know, your fingers. And I don't know, but I'm just going to go ahead and take that piece off like with the letters. And I also have my gloves. Like this is for me since I'm, you know, doing a tutorial on this, but this is how, you know, I start off. But I go in the middle and I press down. This is how I cut it. Everyone's different. So I like basically cut it in another half. Go ahead and chop that up. Cut that in another half, another section. Basically what I'm trying to do is cut it up in smaller sections. So when it's time to like add it, it won't be in large chunks. And this will be easier from my experience, you know, with the whole melting process, like how the cheese melts in the macaroni. So please, like, be careful with your fingers. So I'm just cutting them. And they're going to be like smaller than this. So now I just start the cutting. Just go ahead and chop it up in this manner. It's, you know, as small as you would like. I just don't want a hard time when it comes to, you know, adding it in there. So you basically just cutting these. And like I said, please, you know, watch your fingers. You don't want to get cut or anything. Just go ahead and cut that up. And this, like I said, this cheese I had purchased from Sam's Club, and this is about $10. I'm gonna have the, you know, the exact amount it was, like I said, in the description box. But Gouda cheese is like really expensive, in my opinion. So this is why I don't really, you know, cut it. I mean, I don't cut it. This is why I don't really like make this meal a lot. And also, you know, it's expensive to make, But also, you know, all this cheese and stuff is like not the healthiest. So this is just like on occasions, special occasions, or you know, if you're feeling fancy or whatever. So you're just gonna go ahead and place all your cheese in this bowl and place it in the refrigerator so it can cool down. And then I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next item. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to the bell peppers. What I like to do is go ahead and cut it that way, get rid of the seeds. So I went in a diagonal. Is that diagonal or horizontal? I forgot. Don't judge me. I went ahead and got rid of the seeds, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn this that way, and I'm going to cut. I usually like to cut it in fourths, and then I go from there. Like, I like to chop these, you know, as fine as possible. Just go ahead and chop them. Like I said, this is like the prepping portion. So that way when it comes to cooking, I'm about to show y'all some skills. When it comes to the cooking part, you could just go ahead and dump everything in. So gather them together. Go ahead and cut them. Now, I'm not a, you know, professional, but I like to do a little something. Okay, so you just go ahead, you place your hand on top of the knife, go ahead and gather your ingredient, and you just cut it like that. And this gets them as fine as possible. And you're just gonna, you know, go ahead and repeat. And this is gonna go for both our red and our green bell pepper. And for the top, I'm not a wasteful individual. I'm gonna use the top as well. And how I do that is, I'm just gonna go around. Bell peppers are not cheap. Yes, I am frugal as possible. Well, I try to be when it comes to food. And that way, you know, you can use the top and you're not wasting anything. You know, go ahead and cut that. And you just continue chopping until everything is fine and nice. And then you'll see later on why I go ahead and I, you know, try to make things as fine as possible. I try to cut them as much as possible. And just continue. Okay, so as you can see, I'm done chopping up the red as well as the green bell pepper. And see how fine that is? And if you're not satisfied with it, I just like to go over it again to make sure everything is as small as possible. Okay, but this is fine. Like, this is a good size. And you just go ahead and put these in a bowl. Put these in a bowl and refrigerate them. So as I go along, whatever needs to be refrigerated, I chop it up, put it in a bowl, put it in the refrigerator so it could be, you know, stay as cold as possible. Okay, so now moving on to the red onion. I went ahead and I washed the board, have my bowl for the red onion. I keep the bell peppers and the onions separately because, well, you see like later on. But I start with the ends of the onion. Go ahead and I remove the outer part of it. Just be dumping stuff in the sink. Take that second peel off, second layer. And I keep the ends as well, just like the bell peppers I had. I'm kind of weird, but I take this part. Okay. Just go ahead and cut it in this way. And then I just work my way down. And I really hate cutting onions. So I try to go as fast as possible. I just hate that they have you tearing up. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut these even more fine. And remove the outer part on the ends of the ends. And oh, they're making me tear up already. I hate them. Just go ahead and cut it that way, and that way you can use it Oh, I'm going to continue off camera, but you get the point. Just cut it up as fine as possible because I don't want to be like tearing up on camera. So yeah. All right, so we're moving on to garlic. So I have about 10 here. So I'm going to show you how I chop it up, make it easier. Place your knife over the garlic and your palm over it, but watch out for the edges of the knife. Just go ahead and press it down. Go ahead and open it up. Or I'm sorry, peel it. Peel the garlic. And I'll just be throwing everything in the sink. I'll clean up later. I just remove the top. Get rid of that. And I just start cutting it up. Cut up. And like I said, it's the same thing. You just want to cut everything up. And you just continue for the rest. Now, I love garlic. So you can use as much as you want. Or if you don't like garlic at all, you don't have to add it. But I think it just adds flavor. So this is going to be so good. So just continue. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead to the meats. Oh, I do the meats last, by the way. Probably because, you know, with the cutting board and everything. I'll clean that last. So I do the meats last. So this is our ham. This is the extra lean premium ham with natural juices. Like I said, I got this from Sam's Club. So I'll just go ahead and I'm going to chop this up. Like I said, watch your fingers. And turn that around. And go this way. And just keep chopping it up till you know the size that you want. Okay, so for the final thing that we're chopping up is the oven roasted turkey breast. And the meats are like optional. If you want, you don't have to do it with meat if you're not a meat eater. But this is, you know, I'm just being a little fancy for you guys. And I know I promised that I will make a more detailed video. So as you can see, I'm just cutting this up. So, you know, you can either choose to use either beef if you're a beef lover, or ham, or turkey, whatever you want. But like I said, all of this is like optional. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and cut this up some more. So, you know, you just cut it up. And then you'll see why I keep everything separately, because I cook them at different times. Like, you know, they're going to all end up being cooked together at the end, but I like to cook everything thoroughly, you know, as I go along. So that's why I keep everything separately, and I like to cut it up real, you know, like a reasonable size. And then when somebody's, you know, eating your macaroni, you don't want like a huge chunk of anything, you know, to end up as their bite. So, you know, you just go ahead and take your time and just cut all this up. So I'll just be working on cutting everything up, putting it in a bowl, and like I said, putting it in the refrigerator so I can move on to the cooking part. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the ground beef. So now it is going to be time to, like, you know, cook this. And I usually, so while it's cooking, I'm basically, you know, making sure as it's going, every bit of it is going to cook. And I like move it up to high for right now. Like, I'll go between 8 and high. And I'm just going to go ahead and switch to a fork. And I cook this until it's literally like almost burnt. I don't play with beef. So, like right now it's like 8:45 p.m. So I'll time it to see how long I cook it to give you an estimate. So I'm going to switch to a fork. Okay, so I literally cooked this for about 15 minutes. As you can see, I mean, that's my preference because I have to make sure like everything is cooked. And I don't care if it's like too dark. This is like my preference. So next I'm going to go ahead and add the turkey breast. And this is why you need a large pan if you're going to be using all these ingredients. So I'm just working on cooking my meats first. So I go one by one. So right now, and when I was cooking the beef, I basically went between 8 to, you know, get it started, get the cooking process started. Then I went down to 7, 6, 5, and then 4. Like I would just continue moving it around. So right now it's on a, I just put it on a 4. And I'm going to let that cook for probably, let me see it, maybe like another 7 minutes, you know, just to make sure everything is good and cooked. And after that, I'll add the ham. Just make sure everything is like cooked really well. So next we're going to go ahead and add the ham. And we're going to let this cook up some more. And no, I didn't add any salt. Like all of this meat has a lot of salt already in it. Like the ham, the turkey. So I don't add any salt to this. And you don't want your macaroni too salty, you know. So just go ahead and let that cook for about, let all of this cook itself. Say for about, let me see, a good 10 more minutes. Because I'm just going to be adding things as I go along. So it's cooking. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to go ahead and add the garlic as well as the onions. And this is why you need a large pan for everything. Okay, so I usually put the bell peppers in last because they're, you know, they cook the fastest. So you just go ahead and let all of this cook. Let it take its time until everything is good and soft. I get that from my mom. Like she's always like, "Fala, make sure tu bagay bon. Pa manje bagay ki pa cuit." So she was like, you know, make sure everything is cooked, you know. And it smells really good. And just go ahead and use your spoon. Don't be afraid to use your spoon in this. All right. And then we'll be back. Okay, so this has been cooking for a while now. I'm going to go ahead and add my bell peppers to the pan. Just go ahead and mix it. This has been cooking from the beginning since 8:45, and right now it's 9:20. So it's taking a while. And if you see any like large pieces that you mixed or that you missed, you know, cutting up, I just like to do this. Take my spoon and just get all up in there. And if you want, as you go along, because the meat is basically cooked, you can just go ahead and taste it. Put it in your palm and you taste it. And you can taste, like I haven't added any salt to this. So that's like all of the juices mixing up. Juices and natural like salt that's in this. Gotta mix it. And I'll let this cook for maybe another, let's just say another 7 minutes or so. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and boil my shells. I've already added about 13 cups of water to this pot. I've added about 3 and when I say cap, I mean cap full of oil to the pot, as well as some black pepper. And when I tell you I use like a pinch of salt, just so that, I mean a pinch. I'm not adding that much to it because, like I said, you don't want it to come out too salty. And I just want my shells to be flavorful, because once I didn't add anything to it, and to me it was bland, and my peoples told me it was bland. They like to keep it real. So I just add a minimal amount of salt. And if you want, you can avoid that step because everyone's, taste buds are different. So after the water comes to a boil, that's when I'm going to go ahead and add the shells to the pot. So I have my 13 cups of water, and it varies because I'm using 2 boxes of penne. I added my black pepper, minimal amount of salt and oil. And I'm going to wait for this to come to a boil. So I'm going to go ahead and spray my pan while I wait for the water to boil. And then I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 350 degrees while I wait. Also, make sure that the oven is empty because you don't want to start a fire or anything. Okay, so now that our water is boiling, just go ahead and add your shells. Add your shells and then give it a good mix. I went ahead to drain the water out of the noodles, and I'm going to go ahead and add this back to the pot. Okay, so once I've drained it, I'm going to go ahead and add all of this into the pot. Okay, and right now it's on low. Put the temperature on low. We're just going to go ahead and add all of our ingredients into one large pot. Then we're going to add our Carnation milk, and I am using 3 cans of Carnation milk. Just go ahead and pour that out. I got my 3rd one. I'm gonna add that, and like I said, it's still on low for right now. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start mixing. Let me use another spoon. Sorry about that. Mix that in. Okay, and this is the Carnation milk, penne pasta, and our ingredients from earlier. So while it's still on low, I'm gonna turn it up. I'm gonna go ahead and add the Gouda cheese. And then I'm gonna go ahead and turn the temperature up to about 4. And I'm waiting for this to melt all together. And I'm gonna go ahead and add some cheese. This is, oh, that's a lot at once. Okay, so add the cheese to the pot. This is, like I said, Mexican style. Mix it. Now make sure you pay attention to this because you don't want it like sticking to the pot. Want everything to just melt evenly. That's why you need a large pot. We're just gonna wait until the Gouda is slightly melted and all the cheese is melted. Okay, so now we're gonna add the mayo. Now I just add as much mayo as I want and add the honey mustard and mix. All right, so I'd like to add a little bit more pepper. This is almost done. More pepper. And now add the eggs. And these are 3 eggs. So make sure those shells go in there. and stir, because eggs tend to cook quickly, so you stir real fast so everything can stick. This can be like messy. So you add all three, one by one if you want. And you can lower this a little bit. Go ahead. Add that in there. Mix. Hurry up and mix so your egg doesn't scramble. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and add the final one. So now that we have everything mixed up, I have my pan, and I'm just going to go ahead and add it. I'm doing this because I don't have any like help right now. And you just spread it out. So that's the Gouda. Go ahead. It's gonna get like messy. Sorry guys, I don't have assistance right now. And you're gonna let this bake for a while. And go ahead and turn the oven off. So I'll go ahead and spread that out. Go ahead and layer it with cheese. Go ahead and add the second layer. Add the second layer and spread it out. Spread it out, and then you layer it with cheese. Let me go ahead and stop being lazy. Okay, so this is how it should look prior to going into the oven. You can add some more cheese if you want. I may add just a, like I love black pepper, so I might just go ahead and sprinkle a little bit more black pepper on top of it. I usually like to put something else to decorate the top, but I don't have that, but this would be just as good. So the oven is at 350 degrees, and you're going to let it bake for about a good 30 to 40 minutes. You don't want it too dry. So until the top looks really good and golden brown and it looks thoroughly cooked, because you see like this is a little liquidy. So just go ahead and let it bake in the oven. All right, and this concludes making my detailed Haitian macaroni and cheese. Hope you enjoy. Let me know how it comes out.